to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I would like to welcome you into the kitchen this evening where we're going to have a little fun mixing some medicinal smudge cones. Yes, you can make medicinal smudge cones, not just for smudging your house, but for treating ailments, breathing ailments, asthma, flu, pneumonia, you name it, anything in the chest. Also works on sinuses and so on. Now, not every herb can be burnt this way. There's only a handful that can be. And the ones that I am using this evening, rubbed sage, antifungal, antibacterial, antimicrobial. I can keep going. uh, mullein. Everybody knows how wonderful mullein is for the lungs. But a lot of times people don't know you don't have to just take it as tincture or tea. You can actually smoke it and it will clean up chest congestion, bring it out. Also, it will stop an asthma spell, just like that. Then the third big heavy hitter, Pearly Everlasting. Yes, Pearly Everlasting is wonderful for colds, flus, pneumonia, stuff that's got into your lungs. It will help break it up, bring it out. Also sinusitis and sinus problems too. Now, let's get busy. Okay, in this bowl and in these two big jars, I have rubbed sage, 1 cup. Powdered, if y'all can see, powdered fine. This is the rub sage. This is the mullein. This is not too hard to powder up. It fluffs more than anything. Pearly Everlasting, you got to take your time with it. And this is all that I do. Put the Pearly Everlasting into the blender and make sure there's no whole stems. Make sure that it is. And you're not going to get it powdered. It's going to floof and get fluffy, which that's fine. Now, if you happen to feel any stems that's still big, like that, put it back in the blender. And you'll use it for another time. See, there's another stem. I'm using 1 cup of each. And the darker part are ground up pieces of stem. Whew. And when you do the Pearly Everlasting, check for bigger pieces of stems, because you're going to want to try to avoid any stems. Little bitty pieces of stem is okay. These great big pieces of stem are not okay. Uh-oh, let me move y'all down where you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm just going through the Pearly Everlasting and taking out any bigger pieces of stem. Okay, now I want to mix all three together very well. These smudge cones. Now I also have a regular how to make regular smudge cone video. I will put that. Hopefully it'll work this time. YouTube hasn't been wanting to work right. I will put the link for the regular smudge cones, because not everybody can do smudge bundles. And I'll tell y'all this smells good. Okay. Move the blender out of the way. Move this over. Now, you're going to want to let them dry. I'm only using the dehydrator tray because there's airflow underneath, there's airflow all around. I'm not using the dehydrator at all. Now, I don't use any chemicals, nothing, no binders, no nothing. It's just rub sage, mullein, and a Pearly Everlasting in this mix. Nothing else, because you don't need it. And as long as you follow my directions, you will be just fine. Now, all I use is water. Do not use tap water. You're trying to heal yourself. You don't need any fluoride, chloride, none of that crap in it. Now, there's really no measuring to it. You just have to do it by eyesight. Gonna pour a little in. Try to make sure it stays all in the bowl. Oh man, it smells so good. And yes, they will burn without any trouble. You don't need saltpeter, no nothing. My smudge cones burn just fine without no chemicals or anything. You're going to keep adding a little water at a time. It's going to take a little longer because everything's extra fluffy. And keep pulling out stems when you see them. And don't mix it back in because you don't know if it came from the mullein or the Pearly Everlasting. Now, we're not looking for soup. We are looking for a paste. It's slowly starting to come together. When the plant material is really fluffy, it takes a little bit longer. I haven't used a whole lot of water yet. And I'm trying to keep from using a whole lot of water because you don't want your mixture to get too wet because it's going to take forever for them to dry. And you want to make sure that it's all mixed together real well because you want all three of the medicinals in the mixture, in the cones. It's starting to come together. No, gonna need more water. Now is when you start being extra careful because you don't want to overwater it. Then you'll have to add more plant material back into equal parts of each one. And like I said, it was a cup of each of the three medicinal plants. It can be a little harder to work with these because they're fluffy and you can't really get them in powder form. And you don't want to get them too wet because then it's going to take forever for them to dry. But you want it wet enough where they will stick together. You want to double check, make sure there's no dry pockets, because that can cause your cone to come loose. And of course, now if you're needing Pearly Everlasting, I still have Pearly Everlasting for sale. And you can see there's plenty of water in there. Hold on a minute. I'm trying not to sneeze because me and Pearly Everlasting likes to make me sneeze. And you can see the moisture that's still in it. But you want to make sure that you can make a ball, a cone shape with them, and it still sticks together. Still pulling sticks out. And you want to compress them. You want to make sure you compress them so they will stick together. Because if you don't, they're going to just fall apart. And I'm going to tell you now, they're fragile. So don't roughhouse them once they're dry. Don't worry about them being perfect. Get them as close to cone shape as you can. See? Oh, they smell good. And you want, of course, flat bottom and just put them on the drying rack. You want to work them into a tight ball first. If you see any big cracks or anything, empty spots in them, keep working it. You got to get that out. Alright, I gotta work this one some more. It was a little too loose. on the tip, and I don't like that. Because that's when, if they're too loose, that's how they crumble and come apart. This is fumigation healing in a good way. Ah, like I said, they don't have to be perfect shaped, y'all. Just make sure you keep pressure on them, and you can tell they're solid because they won't. They they try to squish back. There's another one. And you're only going to use these when there's sickness in the house. So you don't really have to make a whole lot of these up. Not like smudge cones. And like I said, there'll be different shapes and sizes. Don't worry about it. I will bring you back as soon as I get done with this batch. See you here in a bit. Okay, I have finally finished with them. It's harder to do it when they're fluffy material. When it's powdered, it's easier to use. So I might next batch throw in some powdered cedar. That way it's easier to hand mold. Do not waste this. Put it either in a compost pile, give it back to the earth, and give thanks for the plant material, for the healing abilities of the plants. Now, these need to set for at least, like I said, they're a little harder to work with. Just mush it back into place. Alright, these need to set for at least a week. Somewhere warm, where they might get a little air on them, uh, out of sunlight. If you got somewhere where there's like a heater vent that can lightly blow over them, that will help make sure that they get the airflow underneath and all around them. What's going to take the longest is the inside to dry out. The outside will dry first, and then slowly the inside will release the moisture. You're going to want to move them, check them every couple days. Make sure no mold is forming on them. If mold forms on them, you might can try to dust it off, but personally, I would get rid of that one. Because if it's mold on the outside, there'll be mold on the inside, and you don't want to be burning any mold or, powdery mildew or anything that doesn't look right. Now, they're going to dry kind of green. They'll look kind of like their normal color. That's fine. But if you see white, weird looking stuff on it, they're no good. And like I said, I'll bring you back, and it's going when as soon as they get dry. Might be 7 days, might be 10 days. It all depends on the humidity in your house and how warm you keep your house. Okay, that's simple. It's easy, and they're medicinal, which makes it even better. And I will see you back here when they're dry. Okay, welcome back. It has been almost a week since making these medicinal smudge, or what's traditionally called a fumitory or fumery. It depends on what part of Europe you go to. and all throughout the world they have always burned medicinal plants for healing, also for protection, and so on. These are for medicinal purposes. So now some of them still need to dry more. A few are ready, so let me show you how to use them. Okay, you're going to need a heat-proof uh, item. You could use a ceramic towel, a big stone, a brick, or an oil burner like I have. Now, let's see. I want to do a smaller one because we're not sick. And these are only to be used when there is illness in the home. And all you're going to do, and like I said, you got to be gentle with them. Because they are fragile. And that's it. And it'll continue to burn on its own, all natural. See? It's just a giant medicinal incense cone. And you'll waft the smoke towards you a couple times, breathe in deeply, and just let this burn and scent the whole home. See? No chemicals. No chemicals, no preservatives added, and see? It burns just perfectly all by itself. It's just like burning a giant incense cone, but it's for medicinal purposes. And like I said, this has sage, mullein, and Pearly Everlasting in it. That's it. There's no binder. There's no saltpeter in it to make it burn. Nothing. They burn on their own and just set them somewhere so the smoke can go throughout the house or in the room where the sick person is. See how simple and easy that is? I'm not blowing on it. You don't have to worry about a fire hazard because it's all contained. And it will continue to burn all the way down to the bottom as long as you let them completely dry. And you saw how easy it is. 3 medicinal actual burning herbs that are medicinal, and distilled purified water. Whichever one you have, distilled water, filtered water, purified water, just no tap water. This is good for flu, bronchitis, pneumonia, sinusitis, asthma. Simple, easy, homemade, and you can do it just like I done it. It's going to take time. It's going to take patience, but you can do it. And I do not burn these, except for I burn this one to show y'all how well it works. But I do not use these unless there's sickness in the house. And you can see, it's still, as long as they're dry, it will burn just perfectly all by itself. You can do this. You can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Simple, easy, homemade, medicinal to heal thyself. You can call them smudge sticks. Smudge cones. It's not a stick. Smudge cones. Now, I'll have the link if YouTube will work at the end of the video to make regular smudge cones, which are a little easier to mold together with your hands, but you see that it works. And it works very well, y'all. Heal thyself. I hope this video encourages you to make your own medicines that will heal you. Continue to stock up your pantries with foods that will nourish and sustain you. Medicinals that will heal you. Protection of all kinds, and above all else, the bare essentials to survive on. Everyone, stay safe and sound. Stay warm and dry in this cold, damp weather. And this is the time to be making them. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And may you each be blessed. Hoot, hoot. Love y'all. See you soon.